When the time is right, you'll know. I'm Rob Murgatroyd, and I can hear the voice inside your head from here. You're ready for your next chapter, but you're unclear on what that looks like and how to make it happen. On the Next Chapter podcast, you'll be inspired to let go of your current identity and shift into a brand new chapter of your life that makes you feel alive. The struggles you're facing now will be substantiated by success stories that'll feel like your own. You'll walk away with tangible strategies backed by experiential evidence that will bring your next chapter to life. Your next chapter is achievable, and it's closer than you think. Welcome back to another episode of the Next Chapter podcast. Today I have Lauren Quacquarelli on the show. I made her very Italian, and hopefully I am saying her name correctly. Here's the story. My wife hands me her phone to watch a video that Lauren posted on TikTok. And the video lays out the challenges that she was feeling about living a life that she felt she should be living. See, her dad is a really successful businessman. Her brother is a really successful businessman. And she just felt that she was fucking up because that was not the road that she felt called to go down. And then she realized that her life was actually meant to be lived, and it was meant to be happy. And spending her life consumed by a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 15-year plan was only giving her anxiety. Now, listen, she's in her late 20s, so you are probably going to be inclined to say, yeah, of course, she's in her 20s, Don't be so quick to do that, because I have many people who come to me in their 40s and 50s who arrive at that same conclusion much, much later in their life. So I really feel that this episode will help you shortcut that problem. So we talked a lot about that video. It was a short 2-minute video, and we'll play it so that you can hear it in the show. But it was so impactful to me, and I think it's going to be impactful to you. So please give this episode a careful listen. She's got a lot of wisdom for such a young girl. So please enjoy this conversation with Lauren Quacquarelli. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Hey everyone.
It is so nice to have you here. Listen, let me first tell you what this podcast is about, because I know that I hijacked you off of TikTok, and this is not what you do for a living, but you were gracious enough to be willing to do this. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about why we're doing this and what it's about. So this podcast is for people who are thinking about or are ready to step into the next chapter of their life. In fact, that's what the name of the show is. And they may have some hesitations or limiting beliefs about what they should or shouldn't be doing with their lives. And I think you represent a beautiful example of what someone who earnestly is trying to figure it out. And we're going to dig into all of that. So that's why I asked you to be here. So thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure. You put it so nicely.
Well, we'll see how it goes as we go through this. But I want to do a quick speed rounds so that people can get to know you a little bit better. So let's start off with, how would you describe what it was like growing up in Derby, England, as the daughter of an Italian dad and an English mom?
It was extremely difficult, actually, because I've kind of always lived with this dual personality. So I grew up in Derby and obviously had all my English friends and lived an English life. But I always felt like the odd one out. So I was always wearing like Italian clothes because I would do my shopping when I came to Italy. And my friends would be like, what the hell are you wearing? Like, why are you wearing white tights or something like that? When everyone was wearing chinos back in the day. And I like always had different kind of culture to everyone else, all my friends at school. So actually looking back, it was quite difficult. I didn't feel like I really fitted in. But then at the same time, I didn't feel like I fitted in when I came to Italy. So yeah, it was difficult.
Do you feel more Italian or do you feel more English?
This is a question I get all the time, and it's split. It's not even like, it depends what situation I'm in. So like in certain aspects, I'm like so Italian, and then in certain aspects, I'm so English. So it's really different. I cannot proclaim myself as an English person or an Italian person. It's such a complex mix in so many ways.
Okay. And what did just for a little bit of framework, what kind of work did your dad do, and what kind of work did your mom do, if anything?
Yeah. So my dad has always been in the shoe business. So he had a shoe, like, the best way I can describe it is he had parts where he would have factories that produce shoes, and then he would like buy and sell other shoes. It was quite a big business. My mum used to be a model. And then when she met my dad was a crazy jealous of an Italian man and made her quit her job. And yeah, the rest is history.
Okay. So I want to start off with a video that you recently posted on TikTok that was sent to me, and it triggered me to reach out to you to do this interview. The video that you created was How Italy Heals Your Soul.
This is how Italy heals your soul. This is how Italy has helped me personally and my issues. So I come from a background of successful people. My dad was an extremely important, rich businessman, really successful. My brother is a really successful businessman. There's always been that expectation that I would do the same. And growing up, having lived a certain lifestyle, you create that expectation within yourself. So I always imagine myself being that businessman that jets across the world with important meetings and making so much money. Like that was the purpose for my life. I was naturally gifted at school. I got A's, A stars all the time without even trying. Went to university, graduated with first class honours and distinctions. I also did a postgraduate diploma and qualified as a language teacher. But I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I struggle to find something that makes me passionate. And I've lived for so many years with this crippling anxiety of this image that I've made for myself that I have to live up to, but my life is not going in that direction. I see everyone around me working 24/7, grinding, really working hard to become that person. I just cannot find my path. I'm 25 and I feel like I'm still just fucking around. But here's where Italy comes in. I've moved to Italy and I just feel like, actually, I'm not that fucked up in the head. The lifestyle and the culture that I've experienced here is that people are happy living life normally, if that makes sense. People are grateful for having their family and friends around, for living a slow, happy life. People don't live to work here, they work to live. And it's slowly healing that part of my soul that expects so much of myself. And it's telling me, you know what, it's okay, take your time. Take your time to find your path. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like some of my friends here are only just graduating from university at 25. And I think, well, I graduated at 22. I travelled the world. I became a teacher. You know what? I should pat myself on the back more. Not put so much pressure on myself. I don't know. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Has anyone ever felt this way? Please tell me I'm not the only one.
Can you tell me why you created that video and what you wanted to get across to people?
I think, well, I probably created it because I was probably in some kind of crisis at the time. But I think what I wanted to get across to people was that, like, don't put so much pressure and stress on yourself about where you're going in life or the plans that you have and if plans change, because I think we all live in, no matter where we are in the world, I think we live in a society where so much pressure is put on us to have everything figured out, know what we're doing for the rest of our lives, go down a certain career path and follow that path and be successful in like the way society defines success. And I think that is crushing I think my idea was basically that, from my personal point of view, is that I've lived with this crushing anxiety that I've created for myself to be a certain person, to follow a certain path in life. Even though I don't know what path that is, I have that anxiety and pressure that I should be doing something and being successful in some kind of way. And I think what I was trying to say is, with me being here in Italy, I mean, above all in the south of Italy, I don't know about the rest, but is that maybe life isn't what I thought it was, and maybe I can be less stressed out of me and actually, find something that makes me happy as a person, if that makes sense.
So there was an expectation that you would be like your dad or your brother, and become a rich business person, but you managed to interrupt that pattern. And instead of going down that road, you said, I have no freaking idea what I want to do with my life. And for someone listening now that is in that same situation, and listen, I'm 56, and how old are you?
I'm 25.
All right, so so I'm twice your age, and I'm going to tell you that this is still real for people who have been doing something for a long period of time, and they're like, I wound up in the shoe business, or I wound up being a lawyer, or I wound up going to college and becoming a doctor or whatever. But, I'm at the stage where I want to be doing something else. So for someone who's listening that is feeling the same sort of mounting pressure from external sources, how would you recommend that they overcome that?
I think focus on the now. So focus on every single day as it passes by. So something that I'm victim of is that I'll think constantly, oh, what am I going to be doing in 10 years' time? What is my life going to be like in 5 years' time? And I'm focusing so much on 20 years down the line that I'm not focusing on who I am today and how I'm feeling today or tomorrow. So I'm waking up every day with this pressure of the person I need to be in this amount of time, that I'm not actually letting myself enjoy the moments that are happening at the moment in this day. So I think wake up every day and just give yourself the pleasure of enjoying your day that day, and make a plan for that day, something that you can achieve that day that will make you feel good at the end of the day. You think, I've made this plan this morning, I've achieved it this evening, and then just go day by day and see where that takes you. I mean, that's probably not the best advice, but that's what's been working for me and helped me a lot with my anxiety about the future and about what I need to do. Because I know this sounds ridiculous, but I kind of, when I moved to Italy, it wasn't planned. It was actually a crazy story, but it was never planned for me to move here. So when I actually found myself living here full time and not having no idea what I wanted to do, I started my TikTok because it was just something that I enjoyed doing day by day. And it gave me something right, I'm going to make this video today. I'm going to make it. I'm going to post it. And then it became a habit, and then it became something to look forward to, and then it became maybe a plan, and then it becomes maybe a future possibility. And it's just something that I would never have even considered. It never crossed my mind. So just allow yourself the time and not stress yourself out so much to be able to come across these ideas and these possibilities.
Okay, so I want to take a second here, because are you familiar with, or do you know the name Casey Rose?
No.
Okay, all right. So Casey Rose is a friend that lives here in Florence, and she has a kind of a similar story to you, in that she was a Broadway actress, and she, because of COVID, obviously New York got shut down. She met a guy who lived in Florence, and she moved to Florence, and she was trying to figure her life out too, post-pandemic. And she started TikToking. She had absolutely no intention whatsoever of doing anything with it. She's now at, I think, a little over 1 million followers.
Oh my gosh, wow.
You got to look her up, Casey Rose with a K. And she announced that she was doing an event in Italy for the people that were following her. She sold out 30 spots in
Wow.
2 seconds when she announced it.
Oh my
2
God.
seconds.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
She's now on her 4th event that she's doing. Now, here's the reason why I'm taking the time to tell you this. There are people that are listening right now that just heard what you just said, and they're like, I can't fuck around with like, not planning the future, or I can't live in the moment. Like I got to figure my shit out. I got to know, I got to know what the future is going to be. I got to dig into, but that's not always the case. If you don't know what it is, just sitting in your day for the moment and saying, I am going to be present and I am going to enjoy this day. Because what is anxiety and stress? It's just not being present. It's looking into the future that we all have no fucking idea what's going to happen anyway, right?
Exactly.
Staying present, and you're not one of these Instagram people that like have a big influencer hat that are like meditating and saying, look at me. You're being really honest. You're like saying, I don't know what it is, but I am going to live in the moment. And, you said that you made this image up for the direction that your life was supposed to take. And you see that your life is not going in that direction that you thought you were supposed to, we'll put quotes around that, go down. And you're reimagining what it can be, but you're reimagining your life by staying present to seeing what's available. And now you got this American that's reaching out to you saying, hey, let's do a podcast on your life. And you're like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? And why do you want me? Because I saw something in your challenge. So you're now opening yourself up to a whole new world because you're willing to be honest, vulnerable, and present about your life now. And I want to talk a little bit about your move to Puglia. And if people don't know where Puglia is, it's spelt with a G and it's in Italy. So it's like Puglia.
Just don't call it Puglia.
Just don't call it Puglia. In 2021, you decided to move to Puglia, and you had an awareness that you're not so messed up in the head, because people in this beautiful country are actually happy about living life normally here in Italy. Can you explain what you meant when you were on the other side of your video, where you said, you know what, I'm not that messed up in the head. I'm actually living a normal life here. Tell me what you meant by that.
So I think in my experience in the past year or so, I've experienced so many like families, friends, obviously like my boyfriend's family. I already have family here, but I've really experienced day-to-day life. So in my past experiences of coming here, it was always kind of like holidays or like a month or so. It was never really fully living here. And I've just seen that the people here are just so content in just the little things. Like there's this story that my boyfriend told me about this guy that worked at the macelleria, which is the butchers. And he said that he saw him every single day on his bike, riding around the city, delivering the meat to the people. And he would always see him smiling so much. And he'd stop him all the time and be like, how are you so happy? And he's like, I've got my family, I've got my wife, I've got my little job that pays my bills. I get to speak to people every day. I live in the sunshine. I eat amazing food. Why wouldn't I be happy? And he said, he's the happiest guy in this world because he's not got a worry. He goes about his life day by day, just doing his thing, and he loves it. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe that is something that I can adopt myself, in that I'm not stressing so much that I'm meant to be this insane, like successful CEO. Maybe I can find happiness in the little things, like I'm seeing here, like a Sunday lunch with my friends or an aperitivo with family, like just the little things that we miss so much when we're focusing on other things. So we forget to like that a walk in the park in the sunshine, or a walk by the beach with our dog while the sun is shining, and going to get a beer with a friend, how much it can heal your soul when you're suffering from all this crippling anxiety.
I think people that was beautiful, by the way. I think people give a lot of focus on maybe what they want to do with their life, but they don't really think about where they want to live their life. And I feel the same way that you do. I think that the environment in which we plunk ourselves in makes a significant difference on how we view the world. Because if you were back in England, I would suspect that you would be triggered by your environment and you probably wouldn't be thinking. Talk to me about that.
Well, I personally suffer majorly with seasonal depression. So like the winter comes for me and I'm just depressed. Like I have no motivation. I don't want to do anything because the cold I hate it. And when I was living in, previously to moving to Puglia, I was living in Derby. I'd just finished university and I was with my ex-boyfriend and I loved him very much. And he was he is an amazing person. And I truly believe if I were living in a different circumstance, then we'd probably still be together. But the effect of the place that I was living, for example, Derby, I wasn't happy in that place. For me, meant I wasn't happy in my relationship. I wasn't happy in my life. And I really do think the place that we live in affects everything in our life massively, because even though right now in Puglia, I'm not working really much. I'm not making loads of money, like making hardly any money. I don't necessarily have anything to, you can't see me right now, but I'm doing air quotations, be proud of. Mm-hmm. I feel personally 100 million times happier than I was maybe in Derby with a lovely person by my side, working a good job, being a teacher, having like possessions, having my own house, these kind of things. I was depressed there. I was fucking depressed. But here, I don't have any of those things, but like I'm 100% happier. And that for me purely is to do with the place that I'm in, to do with the place, the culture, the sunshine, the people, everything. I think it makes such a massive difference.
It's incredible. And it's so hard to explain to people. So for people that are listening that are saying, well, I live in Alaska. I'm not getting on a fucking plane and flying to Puglia. Like I have I got my job here. I got my life. Consider where you live. And listen, Italy has its challenges, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But consider where you live, because where you live will largely dictate how you feel. I can tell you, I lived in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've also lived in Los Angeles. And I can tell you that when you wake up to Southern California sunshine, you feel different. And when you walk outside the streets here, I live in Florence, and when you walk outside the streets of Florence and you hear the church bells and you're walking on cobblestone streets, you feel different. There's just a different
it's an energy
kind of vibes. It's an energy. And it's an energy. We'll leave it at that. It's an energy. I want to talk about nothing fucking working in Italy because it's a shit show. Like I know that you were recently in hospital. The experience wasn't great for you, but it is still healing your soul.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you are able to overlook certain things because the greater picture of what you're getting is worth it, even in spite of the insanity that is the bureaucracy of where you're living.
I mean, it is a daily struggle, believe me. It's a daily struggle, especially coming from a place where I think personally a lot of things work in the UK and things seem to be civilized and services work there. Like you say, in Italy, it's a fucking shit show, and I don't know how the fucking people live here. But it's a struggle daily. But like you say, if you look at the bigger picture, to me, it's worth it because it's about what you can gain rather than what you're losing. To me, so I might be losing out on quick, turnarounds in the bank or the council or better hospital services or something or whatever. But for me right now, I can't comment for 60 years down the line when I might be older and in need of different services. But for me, in my personal situation right now, Italy gives me more than it takes from me. So it gives me more of a well-rounded view of life. It gives me more mental stability. It gives me more pleasure in waking up in the morning and starting my day than my experience in the hospital, for example. Because how many times do I experience the hospital? Once a year, if something goes wrong. How many times do I wake up to sunshine and go downstairs and get my coffee for €1 every single day? So for me, it's about weighing the pros and cons and which way outweigh. It's like the pros outweigh the cons for me personally.
You are now becoming TikTok famous. And I'm telling you, mark my words, I'm good at this. You are going to blow up. You're going to blow up. I don't know if you want to blow up, but you're going to blow up. And you're going to do it, in my opinion, because you are real, you're authentic, and you don't walk around Italy all the time saying it is perfect. You also say it's not so perfect. And you share a lot of things that I think people can relate to with just life in general. So how does it feel for you as you're noticing that this thing that you didn't think about was going to be sort of this next chapter of your life? How does it feel now for you that it is starting to become that?
Fucking crazy. Not something that I expected whatsoever, because like I say, I just started to do it. Well, I am still doing it just for pleasure. It's something that I like doing. And like you say, I like to be very raw on my social media. Like, that's not to say I don't post like nice pictures on my Instagram or things like that, because everyone does. But at the same time, if anyone follows me on Instagram, they'll see that I post photos of my belly rolls every day and say, remember, social media isn't real. Because I feel like from my experience with social media, I've suffered a lot of seeing these glamorized views of everything and thinking, you know what, everyone's got it greener than me, and I don't want to be that person. So when sharing my experiences in Italy, I'll share the amazing experiences that we have here, which is obviously something that does happen, but at the same time, we have the shit days as well. And that's important to share as well, because we're harming people and thinking that we're having this amazing time all the time, and that's not the reality. So I think that's important. And on the side of being TikTok famous, it's getting a bit like, I'm not even TikTok famous, but it's getting a bit like, whoa, yeah, I'm getting a lot of people like stopping me, actually, weirdly, which I've never experienced before. People stopping me in the street or stopping. I was in Naples the other weekend, and the guy stopped me and said, "Oh my God, like, I'm your biggest fan." I was like, "Fucking hell, like, what the fuck?" And
it's weird.
And I was in London recently, and I was in Primark because I'm obsessed with Primark. And the first thing I do when I go back to the UK is go straight to Primark. And
what's that? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what Primark is.
No.
It's like a really cheap clothes shop. Like, they do everything, and it's like super cheap. Like, you can get really nice clothes for like £10. And I was trying on like a dress on the shop floor because I couldn't bother to go to those changing rooms. And I got a message 10 minutes later on Instagram saying, "Oh, I follow you on TikTok. I'm a massive fan. I've just seen you in Primark trying on a dress and it looked amazing on you." And I was like, "Oh my God, I cannot deal with it."
It's weird.
That is fucking weird. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be on TikTok anymore.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. And you don't like, you record this little video and you hit upload, but you don't, like, with the number of followers that you have, you don't realize how many people are watching it and how many people are in your orbit because they're interested in the things that you're interested in. So it's like 6 degrees of separation. It just starts to show up,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really incredible. All right. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. These are going to be like weird questions, and you're going to be like, "What? Why is he asking me these?" But just roll with it. Okay. What is one rule that you have for yourself that you will never break?
Oh God, one rule that I have for myself that will never break. If there's one thing you should know about me, is I hate rules. I don't like rules whatsoever. I love to break rules. So that's the thing. I don't really have any rules.
That's great. No, that's the perfect answer, because the answer is the one rule I have is I don't have any rules.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. What new behavior or habit has most improved your life?
The gym for me. The gym. It's not a new behavior, I wouldn't say, because in the past I've always like dabbled in going to the gym and exercise, and I've always played sport in the past. But since moving here and feeling a bit lost and not knowing what to do with myself, I forced myself to create a routine of going to the gym only 3 times a week, right? But honestly, it saved my life. It saved my life. Like, my mental health and just my confidence has just improved tenfold since having this habit.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Moving your body really helps.
Yeah.
What is an unusual or absurd thing that you love?
Oh,
People may look and go, well, that's weird, but you love it. What comes to mind for you?
God, the only thing, I don't think I'm that strange. The only thing I can think about is dipping digestive biscuits in orange squash. And I think only English people will understand that. And they'll think that's fucking weird.
Okay, hold on.
Your face is so confused right now.
I'm a gringo. So digestive biscuits. So biscuit is cookie, and the digestive
biscuits are so famous. They're the epitome of being English. I think it's not even a cookie, it's a biscuit. It's I don't know how to describe what it is.
And what's squash?
You don't know what squash is? Oh my God, what? It's
orange squash. You mean like the vegetable squash?
No. Yeah, orange squash is in it's like juice. It's like a dilute that you put water into and it becomes juice.
Oh, so it's a juice concentrate. You call that squash?
Yeah. What do you guys call it?
Concentrate.
we call it squash. Squash.
Never, ever heard that. Okay, well, you win the award for that one. That's good. Are there any positions or opinions in the last few years that you've substantially changed your mind about, where you're like, I used to think this way. I don't think this way anymore. I changed my mind about this.
Oof, that is a difficult one. Because I've always kind of grown up. I like to think of myself as a feminist. This is getting tricky here, but I've always grown up kind of thinking, I don't know if I want to say this, but I've always thought that women that are kind of like your typical housewife are just wasting their life. Basically, that was my past thought. But again, circling back to being here, having experienced the women that I've seen here that dedicate their lives to that, it's changed my opinion in a certain sense, in that there is merit to it. That's all I'll say.
Well, no, I love that. I mean, because what you're saying is that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're saying that you had a judgment around it, but you have less of a judgment around it because you see the value in somebody making a decision for what the fuck they want to do with their life and their family, and they're getting joy and love from being. So who gives it? I love that. That's a great answer.
Exactly.
By the way, isn't it so horrible that we have to watch every word we say? That was great. I love that. I know, especially when you're being recorded. I know. What would your friends say is one of your superpowers?
My best friend always says to me that I have the power to light up any room. I don't know what she means by that.
I could see that. I think that's why you're growing the way you're growing. There is a light inside you.
Maybe.
Have you ever collected anything?
Have I ever collected anything? Boys' hearts. I'm joking.
Did you say boys' hearts? That's good. We could just leave it right there. That was really good. I love that.
Crazy man-eater.
Yeah. That's by the way, that's gonna be the sound. That's gonna be a sound bite. When I promote this, it's gonna be I collect boys. I collect boys' hearts.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't collect anything.
Okay. Other than boys' hearts. What book have you reread
Mm-hmm.
the most?
The Power of the Subconscious Mind, if I said the title correctly. I've reread it about 3 times.
And who wrote it? Do you know?
Joseph Murphy. Yeah, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Joseph Murphy. I would recommend that to anyone. Amazing. Changed my life.
All right. I'm going to get it today.
Do it.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Food. All day, every day.
We're in the wrong country for that guilty pleasure.
I know. I don't have any kind of problems. I don't drink alcohol. Well, I drink a bit of alcohol. I don't smoke or anything like that. But food.
It's it's especially here. You can't stop. Okay, 2 more questions. If you could send out a push notification to everybody's phone, what would it say?
What would it say? Wake the fuck up, be the fuck happy, and get out of your fucking head.
It's really good. Okay, last question. What one question would you like to ask me before we wrap?
Why are you in Italy?
For a lot of the reasons why you've discussed. My wife and I have 2 daughters. I have a 24-year-old daughter and I have an 8-year-old daughter. So big stretch between the 2. The 24-year-old is out living in San Diego and she comes to visit here. And obviously the 8-year-old is with us. And I was a chiropractor in Atlanta, Georgia for 25 years. And if one more person said their neck or back hurts, I was going to shoot myself. I couldn't do it another day, another minute. I was done. And so I told my wife, I just want to move on and I want to do something else. I don't know exactly what it is, but we got rid of the practice and I had always wanted to live in Southern California. I wanted to surf. That was just the thing I wanted. So my wife said, fine, we'll move to Southern California, but would you be open to living in Florence for a few months before we move from Atlanta to California? And I said, sure, not a problem. So we spent 4 months and we moved to Florence. And I had visions of California while I was here. I was planning on surfing. I was planning on living because I'm like you. I get very depressed in gray skies. I need light. And so we did our 4 months here. We fell in love with it. It was just amazing. But that wasn't our plan to stay. It was our plan to go back. And we went back and COVID hit. And we spent the better part of 2 years on lockdown in California. And it gave us a lot of time to think about where we just came from, which was Florence. And one day we were watching Stanley Tucci, and he was doing his CNN special on living in Italy. And he did an episode on Florence. And he said, my parents moved me to Florence when I was 11 years old to do a year abroad. And it changed the entire trajectory of my life. And we looked at each other and we went, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And we called a lawyer. We got the visa appointment and we applied to the International School of Florence for our daughter. And within 4 months, 5 months, we were living here.
Fuck. How, I'm just like a 25-year-old, girl with no responsibilities, but you guys are fucking family. That is fucking ballsy.
It was hard. It was ballsy.
Ballsy.
It was hard. It was really hard. Don't know the language. But you do speak Italian, don't you?
Yeah. So I feel like that is way easier for me. So for me, it's I did, obviously my dad's Italian, so I grew up with him speaking Italian, but he spoke a lot of dialect when I grew up. So I never really learned properly Italian. So I did languages at university and I did Spanish and Italian. So I graduated in languages. So that's why I know the language.
What part of Italy is he from?
From Puglia.
He's from Puglia. So that was...
Yeah, he lives here.
Are they still together or are they divorced?
No, my parents split up a long time ago. So that's why I was always in between the two. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I did a month in Lecce a couple of years ago. It was amazing. It was like literally landing on the movie set from 3,000 years ago. It was just fucking bananas, you know,
So
but
beautiful.
it was great. It was so beautiful. Well, listen, I have nothing but admiration for what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I am a fan. I'm a TikTok fan. I'm gonna fanboy all out on you and tell the world about what you're doing. I think you're doing great work out there in the world. So thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to do this.
Thank you for being ballsy and moving to Florence. I think that's amazing. And honestly, hats off to you. That's an
You got
incredible
it.
decision. And I hope it all works out.
Thank you. Interrupt your pattern. It's not working for you or your business anymore. Your day-to-day life is consuming your potential. And if you're really honest, you're hungry for a group of entrepreneurial couples that will help you stimulate growth and innovation in your business. Entrepreneurs come up with brilliant new ideas by exposing themselves to new and different experiences. So come with us. Your next experience awaits. Check out the link in the description to learn more.